Have you ever wondered if everything we believed about the Warriors' destiny this offseason was about to be turned upside down by a move nobody saw coming? What if the man they're chasing isn't just any star, but someone who could redefine the entire roster? Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report, where we bring you the hottest buzz from Chase Center to Silicon Valley. Before we dive in, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report, and ring that notification bell so you're always ahead on all things Golden State. Tonight's topic centers on a jaw-dropping revelation. The Phoenix Suns are reportedly making a serious push to offload Kevin Durant, and it has major implications for our beloved Warriors. Could this mean that a reunion with KD is closer to reality than anyone anticipated? Is it possible that Steve Kerr and the front office have been quietly plotting a blockbuster deal to bring back a four-time All-Star? According to multiple insiders, Phoenix desperately wants to address its long-standing center need, one that's lingered since DeAndre Ayton's departure, and they now view Durant as expendable if it solves that problem. What does that mean for Golden State's offseason plans, especially when you factor in Jonathan Kuminga's restricted free agency and the potential return of former Warrior Andrew Wiggins? Let's rewind to when the Suns' playoff hopes fizzled out last spring. Despite boasting a superstar backcourt, Phoenix fell short of bringing home the Larry O'Brien Trophy, and their defensive vulnerabilities in the paint became glaringly obvious. With rumors swirling that KD's fit alongside Devin Booker and Bradley Beal was less than ideal, and whispers that Durant himself might be open to relocating, teams around the league began to circle. The latest report from The Athletic indicates that Phoenix's asking price has gradually dipped as they field calls, now seeking exactly what Golden State lacks: a true center. Could Steve Kerr be ready to part with a roster piece like Kuminga? Or Moses Moody plus draft capital to resurrect the Durant Splash Brothers era? Some insiders believe that yes, if the price is right, Golden State may pounce. Digging deeper, reports say that the Suns have communicated to several front offices that they want a young center who can anchor their defense. Meanwhile, they're willing to include Durant in a deal that also nets them future first-round picks. From a Warriors perspective, we know exactly what that entails. Packaging a restricted free agent like Kuminga, whose first-year salary nets him only 50% value as a trade chip, with a sharpshooter such as Brandon Podziemski, and sprinkling in multiple draft selections. And don't forget salary-matching pieces like Jordan Poole or Otto Porter Jr. It all hinges on whether Golden State is willing to sacrifice youthful upside and future assets to bring back a player who averaged nearly 27 points per game while shooting over 50% from the field last season. Is the lure of a proven Finals MVP enough to justify that cost? Fans are wondering if this could be the beginning of a new three-headed monster alongside Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, one that could vault the Warriors back to championship contention instantly. But let's not overlook the domino effect on Kuminga's future. If Golden State commits to a sign-and-trade or straightforward deal for Durant, Jonathan's role and potential earnings suddenly become murky. Could this force the front office to pivot and reconfigure the entire roster around keeping Kuminga, while exploring alternative veteran options? Some insiders believe that this rumor has already pushed the organization to reconsider pursuing a high-profile free agent center, precisely because they're not confident they can meet Phoenix's demands without gutting the young core. And where does that leave Andrew Wiggins? Another report out of the Warriors Plus Minus podcast suggested Golden State might reunite with Wiggins via a trade centered on Kuminga, effectively swapping a restricted up-and-comer for a familiar veteran who was instrumental in their 2022 championship run. But would that move really bolster the roster or simply maintain the status quo while chasing a move that's likely to fall short? Context matters. KD's last full season with Golden State saw him average over 25 points, shooting 53% from the field and providing a new dimension to an already lethal attack. Yet that era also raised questions about roster balance and financial flexibility. Could bringing him back fit within the strictures of the salary cap, especially when factoring in luxury tax penalties that would skyrocket with 4 max contract players on the roster? And how would Stephen Curry feel about deferring touches in favor of another ball-dominant superstar? Some believe Curry's competitive spirit would embrace any move that increases the championship odds, while others warn that shared usage could breed tension in high-pressure playoff moments. Historically, big-name reunions have produced mixed results. Recall how adding Chris Webber to the old Warriors squad in the early 2000s created brief excitement but failed to produce a lasting contender. Conversely, reuniting Kevin Durant back then led to back-to-back finals appearances, though they only secured one title. Could history repeat itself, or would this iteration underperform due to changed dynamics and deeper competition? The Western Conference landscape is more formidable than ever. The Lakers, Grizzlies, Mavericks, and Nuggets each boast all-star talent ready to pounce on any sign of weakness. How confident can Warriors Nation be that blending Durant back into the core won't disrupt the unselfish ball movement that's defined the past decade of success? And let's not ignore Draymond Green's role. As the defensive anchor and emotional leader, his endorsement, or veto, of any such trade carries immense weight. Draymond's unique skill set, averaging around 7 assists and nearly a triple-double per game at his peak, is irreplaceable. Could he adapt his play if a hulking 7-footer like DeAndre Ayton, or even rookie center prospects from the draft, joins the lineup instead of KD? Some insiders suggest Draymond believes it's more prudent to maintain roster continuity and chase a high-value role player or two rather than reshuffle the deck for a familiar face. Yet, others believe that no single move compares to the gravity of adding a proven Finals MVP, regardless of age or positional fit. Fans online have already started mock trading scenarios. Some propose packaging Kuminga, Moody, and 2 first-round picks for KD plus a second-rounder, while others suggest a sign-and-trade involving Kuminga alone, banking on his bird rights. But the reality is, NBA rules make sign-and-trades for restricted free agents almost impossible to structure this way without waiting until mid-season. Even Bobby Marks, former Spurs assistant GM and current ESPN insider, has pointed out that the Warriors simply lack the center prospects Phoenix craves. Could Golden State pursue a third team to facilitate a 3-way swap? Is there a franchise out there willing to take on a contract no longer deemed essential, like Andre Iguodala's, or pivot a young big man who's barely scratched the surface in exchange for additional draft capital? These are the questions keeping Warriors brass up at night. Perhaps the most intriguing piece of this saga is the relationship between Durant and Curry. Their chemistry once dazzled the league. Curry's gravity drew defenders out only to kick, to KD for a mid-range bomb or allow Durant to slash for a thunderous dunk. Could rekindling that rapport be enough to override the logistical headaches and cap concerns? Some insiders believe Durant's willingness to sacrifice touches and embrace a tertiary role, just as he did in his first Warriors stint, might appeal to Kerr's system. But is it realistic to expect him to take a backseat after years as the primary offensive option in Brooklyn and Phoenix? All signs point to a delicate balance between ego and pure championship hunger. So, Warriors faithful, as we wrap up this first installment, here's what matters most. The Suns are hungry for a center, the Warriors are scrambling to keep their core intact, and the looming specter of a KD blockbuster forces everyone to reevaluate. But what do you think about all of this? Personally, as a Warriors supporter, I believe that chasing a reunion with Kevin Durant, while tempting, could undermine the chemistry that's carried us through 4 championships. I'd rather see the front office find a complementary piece that enhances our current core without sacrificing future assets. I can't wait to read your thoughts in the comments below. If you haven't already, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report so you're front and center for every twist and turn this off-season brings. Now, picking up where we left off, let's dive into the nitty-gritty of what could realistically happen next, and why this rumor about Kevin Durant's availability has placed Golden State between a rock and a hard place. Imagine the Warriors' front office convening in the Chase Center war room. Charts and spreadsheets, flickering on multiple screens. On one side, a dream scenario proposal awaits. A package built around Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and 2 future first-round picks, all offered to Phoenix in exchange for KD plus that coveted draft pick swap. On paper, the math might almost work. Kuminga's bird rights grant the Warriors leverage to include him in a sign-and-trade, while Moody's long-range shooting and defensive potential sweeten the pot. But NBA-CBA rules are unforgiving. Since Kuminga is a restricted free agent, a sign-and-trade can't be formalized until he signs an offer sheet with a rival, which the Warriors would have to match. That leaves the earliest trade window to send him elsewhere as December 15th. By that time, Phoenix might have moved on or reduced their asking price even further. Meanwhile, every passing day without a clear plan puts pressure on Steve Kerr to finalize a roster, conduct summer workouts, and ensure cohesion before training camp tips off. Yet there's another angle. Could Golden State pursue a 3-team deal to circumvent direct restrictions? Picture Phoenix sending Durant to Team C, which then flips salary-matching pieces and draft assets to the Warriors while parceling off unwanted contracts to other franchises. While this convoluted approach could theoretically satisfy cap and CBA requirements, it depends on finding a third team willing to house a jumbo contract with little immediate upside. Could a rebuilding franchise gamble on a short-term rental of Durant's contract just to collect extra picks and young talent? That scenario seems tenuous at best. After all, most teams prefer clarity over chaos. Few want to gamble cap space on an aging superstar who might decline the following season. Then there's the elephant in the room: roster identity. For the past decade, Golden State's blueprint has been unselfish ball movement, precision spacing, and a defensive mindset, anchored by Draymond Green. Introducing another high-volume scorer like KD forces a recalibration. Draymond would need to cede some playmaking duties but remain the emotional core, audibly directing rotations, closing out on shooters, and guarding the paint. Klay Thompson, once the hardened sniper, would shift further away from the ball, hunting for catch-and-shoot opportunities while trying not to feel redundant. Curry would still handle the rock more than half the time, but could he accept stepping back when Durant demands the ball in isolation? The answer could determine whether this experiment succeeds or backfires. Some league scouts insist that Durant's willingness to embrace a secondary role, like he did during his first stint in Golden State, could smooth the transition. But others caution that 4 years in Brooklyn and Phoenix, where he was unquestionably the guy, might have reshaped his expectations. If Durant insists on lifting less weight offensively, his impact could wane, leaving the team awkwardly spread between playmakers. Financial implications are equally daunting. Adding Durant's max deal means the Warriors would face astronomical luxury tax bills, figures so eye-popping only a small handful of teams have dared approach them historically. Ownership would need to weigh not just the cost of winning another championship, but the long-term burden of consecutive tax penalties. Would Joe Lacob and Ryan Lucero view this as a worthwhile investment to galvanize local revenue, drive jersey sales, and extend Golden State's global brand, even if it means sacrificing payroll flexibility down the line? Or would they prefer to allocate that money toward retaining Kuminga, signing a reliable 3-and-D wing, or pursuing an up-and-coming big man who can develop under Draymond's tutelage? Some insiders suggest the front office is already leaning toward the latter, believing that maintaining a sustainable salary structure and fostering continuity outweigh the fleeting allure of a superstar reunion. Regardless of how the dust settles, the season ahead will hinge on one thing: execution. Whether Golden State lands Durant, reclaims Wiggins, or bets on its youthful nucleus, the key lies in syncing 5 other rotation pieces around their top talents. Could they find a veteran 3-and-D wing to pair with Draymond and create a disruptive switching unit? Can they unearth a backup center in free agency capable of preserving rim protection while Jamichael Green ages like fine wine? Does Stephen Curry maintain his MVP caliber form into his late 30s, carrying the load by example and mentoring emerging youth? These questions demand answers before the first regular season game kicks off. If the front office miscalculates, the margin for error in the stacked Western Conference could be razor thin. So, as we draw this saga to its conclusion, Warriors Nation faces a choice between chasing a nostalgic reunion or charting a measured path forward. Will they pin their hopes on a superstar blockbuster that might redefine the franchise's trajectory, or will they double down on the blueprint that delivered 4 championships? Personally, as a die-hard Dub, I find myself torn between the excitement of reliving those KD-fueled finals runs and the wisdom of preserving a culture built on selflessness and continuity. The truth is, no matter how electrifying a reunion might feel, champions are defined by consistency, chemistry, and the relentless pursuit of improvement, qualities that can thrive with or without Kevin Durant. Now it's your turn. I can't wait to read your predictions, your cautions, and your bold visions for this franchise's future in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, give us a like, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell so you never miss a beat. Thank you for watching Warriors News Fan Report. Until next time, stay golden.